So here you are. You've got a great job, maybe a family or a relationship. You go on vacation twice a year. You take some photos. You write. You have some success, but somehow it's not enough. In those moments when you're alone, you start thinking to yourself, what am I doing wrong? Why do I not know where to go? Why am I lost? This can happen to you anytime in your life. Most often, I think, when we're young, and then sometimes about your middle of your life, if you know what I'm saying. You've had success. People looking at you say, you're doing well. You can pay for your house. You have a new car every couple of years. But that's not enough. What we need is a place to be, a goal, if you will. We need something that we can feel we really have accomplished. And this is just human nature. I'm Daniel Norton, photographer here in New York City, and in this video, I'm going to talk about how to use goal setting to get out of the spot that we've all been in, where we just simply feel lost. All right, so before we can talk about using goals to get past being lost, let's talk about what I mean here. So all of us, myself included, many times in my life, find ourselves in a position where we seem to lack a direction. We've been moving forward, and of course we can just keep walking in the direction we're going, but we don't feel like we're getting anywhere. When decisions do come up, maybe we're indecisive, maybe we're just not satisfied with the results, even the results we've been happy with in the past. Maybe we are sometimes sad and we're thinking, what am I doing? What did I do with my life, right? Where did I make the right decision here and there? And this can lead to all kinds of things. Could be quick temper. I suffer from that sometimes. And, looking at others that are, let's say, having certain successes and being mad, like, why do they have that success and I don't? What's wrong with them, or what's wrong with me? This kind of thing, right? You're feeling like maybe if you had done something different in the past, you'd be somewhere else. And while that very well, I guess, would be true, that doesn't mean you'd be somewhere better. And that's one thing we need to keep in mind with this. Just because you're feeling lost doesn't mean you're not in the right spot. In fact, in my experience, being lost means that you really care, that you really will be somewhere very great. You just have to give yourself some direction, some help, a little bit of TLC even, and just let yourself know that you'll get past it. Kind of an aside here, one of the things that I would recommend you don't do, which is very common for us when we get to this state, is to isolate. I think that even if when you go out, you're feeling like a bit down because your friends or relationships are, let's say, seeming more successful than you, it makes sense for you to be around people. Being around people, even if you're an introvert, like I am, is helpful. It will let you see that, especially if you have close friends you can talk to, everyone goes through this. It's nothing to be embarrassed about. You just need to understand it's part of life. But it is still important for us to plan to get unlost. Would that be found? Probably not. Maybe to have a direction. All right, let's talk about the power of setting goals. So you're lost. And here's the thing. When we're lost, one of the simplest things to do, but the thing we almost never do because we get nervous, is to stop for a second and think. Really think. Get inside of ourselves and say, why do I feel lost? I've got this successful job, or I'm doing this type of work. And why isn't it enough? Try to dig in a little bit there. And once you do, the next step is to set goals. So let's say, for instance, you have been very happy. You're an amateur photographer, we'll say, and I mean amateur in the most wonderful way. You love photography, you love to shoot, but there's something in you that says, I want to get more recognition. I want more people to see my work. I want to maybe make some money from it. I want to make it a career, which we can talk about. What do I do now? What are the steps? And in order to do this, I need to set goals. My goal is to get a paying client. So let's take it another way. You love to do travel photography. You travel around, you photograph people in different places, you photograph landscapes, you photograph historical stuff, everything around you photograph. You show them to your friend group, everybody likes them, it's real nice, right? But you feel like more people would benefit from this. More people would probably go to these places that you've been and see the things you've seen if they knew more about it. That is why you're lost. You're going to these places and you're enjoying it, but what you really want to do is share these places with people. So now we can set a goal. Our goal is to share this with people. So how do we do that? This is where you just have to start thinking about what you're really realistically going to want to do. You could start a travel vlog or a travel blog, as it would be. You could start an Instagram or a TikTok about it. You could send your images into galleries where, if they're landscapes or something, you could send them into photo contests for travel. You could send them to books publishers and see if they're interested in it. Stock photography. There's so many places where these images could get out there and really let people experience the joy that you experienced. And that's what you want. What you want is for people to experience that. The route you take is why you set a goal. Here's the thing. That's all fine and dandy. And you think, okay, I love to travel. I'm going to start a travel Instagram. But now what we need to do is set goals if we really want to feel like we're going to achieve something. If you just start an Instagram and you put pictures up and it's just kind of like, then you're not going to feel what you want, right? You're not going to feel that people are getting this. What you want is people to share them. You want people to look at them. You want them to comment. So now we can set a goal. My goal is to get X number of followers on Instagram or X number of likes or X numbers of shares if you're on different platforms on each photo. And what we're going to do is build that up because my goal is to make this thing a larger community. I'm going to make a community around people that love to travel like me. That's my grand goal. But in order to start, my first smaller goal is to build up my Instagram to show people what is possible. If you're like me, then you probably love to read as well as watch YouTube videos. So go to your library or go to the bookstore, pick up some books about goal setting. Get deeper into it. We're going to cover it here, but there's only so much I can do in a video. Get into some books, read some authors that really get into the science of it, and you'll see how important it is for us to kind of give ourselves that goal so we can find our direction. I'll give you another example that's literally being lost. You're standing in the woods, you don't know where you're going, you look up and you see a mountain, and you think, oh, I remember seeing that mountain before, that's near the highway. You can turn and go towards that mountain. That's going towards the mountain is a goal. You're going to hit lots of things in between and you may have to change up a bit. But while you're walking towards that mountain, at least you have something to look at when you're feeling tired, you're feeling like you're not going to make it. You can still see that mountain in the distance. Okay, so we know goals are important, but how do we even set them? And how do we set goals that will work for us? Well, there's a simple acronym, SMART, as it would be. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. We're going to break down each of these and talk about the best way to set goals. So specific, right? When we are saying specific, we need to dig in to what exactly it is we're talking about. To say, I want to be the most successful photographer, or I want to be a successful photographer, or I want to start a photography business is not specific enough. What we need to know is, what is it that makes you the most successful or a successful? And what do you mean by a business? What kind of business? Is it going to be a full-time business, a part-time business? Is it going to focus on specific things? This is the specific part. We need to set the goals based on our end goal, right? So when we say specific, we need to think, and again, that's too wide of a goal, first of all, to start off with. Being the best photographer or a successful photographer is too big of a goal. Take one chunk of what you think is that, right? So let's say to you, a successful photographer is one that works once a month for a magazine. Well, the first goal would be to get a job shooting something for a magazine. That is a specific goal. Find a job shooting for a magazine. That's one step on your way to being a successful photographer. And of course, looking back at that, that's measurable, right? We can look at it and go, did I get one job shooting for a specific magazine? The specific and the measurable are working together here. All right, let's talk achievable. If I set this goal even more specific and say, I want to get a job shooting the cover of American Vogue, and I've never been in any magazines before and I'm just starting, is that really achievable right now for you? That right there is you setting yourself up for failure. Look at that as a long-term goal and instead say, what's more realistic, right? What's actually achievable for me? What's achievable is possibly to get into the cover of a local magazine. And let's talk relevant. So yes, okay, so achievable, let's get on the cover of a local magazine. But if you're trying to get on the cover of American Vogue shooting celebrities, if that local magazine focuses on food, that might not be the most relevant magazine to get on. Maybe look for a local magazine that features portraits on the cover, possibly even portraits of celebrities. Yes, they very likely buy those from news sources, but at the same time, if there's somebody local, they will have you photograph. Or maybe you start off photographing the interior of the magazine, local people, this person that has a business, or this person that's the local politician. This is how we start working our way up. Make sure that the goals you're setting are relevant to the final big goal. I think the time-sensitive one is the one that's often difficult for people, especially for the type of goal I'm talking about right here, because how do you even know how long it will take you to do that? So here it's a little bit, again, that goal might even be too big to be super time-sensitive, but you might want to set some kind of a within a year. That way you can kind of track your progress. But again, maybe inside that time frame, you're going to break it down even further and go, okay, within 2 months, I'm going to get X number of interviews at magazines. Within X number of months, I want to be shooting at least something for a magazine. Within this far, I want to be at least considered for a cover. And then within this long, I hope to shoot a cover. So as we're doing any of this, remember, think of your bigger goal, make it more specific, and then even more and more specific with even smaller goals inside of it to help bring yourself up to that final point. Don't just shoot for the top. Look at all the things you need to do in between and make those individual things individual goals so you can feel like you're making progress and you're feeling some success. And then you won't feel so lost. It's not, I'm going to leave my house in New York and go to California. It's like, I'm following these highways. I'm going to stop at these cities. I'm going to book these hotels on the way so I know where I'm going. So great, you've got your goal. Now you're done, right? Absolutely not. What's going to happen? You're going to run into obstacles. Some of these we create ourselves, some of these we can't help. I'll touch on a few of them here. Let me know in the comments below some other obstacles you found in kind of attaining your goals. The first one, which is super common, is procrastination. Oh, I have to do this today, it's more important, I'll deal with that later. No, you need to set goals and you need to give yourself the time to achieve them. Don't keep putting things off for the perfect moment. There will never be a perfect moment. It's hard to get out of procrastination, but the way that I generally do it is I set myself up with a calendar and I write on the days I need to do the things I'm doing, right, for my goals, so that when I get there, I can't put it off. It's on the calendar and I will do it. This is important. Make sure you're making yourself accountable somewhere. I'll say physically because I read it in a book, but you could also be digital. Just write it down. To that point though, sometimes there is something external that you can't control. You're ready to work, you have it on your schedule, you sit down to do it, but the meeting that you were supposed to have gets delayed and now all of a sudden you're sitting there with a bunch of empty time. This is why having some multiple goals going on at once and multiple ideas is super useful, or maybe just take that little bit of time to relax. But remember, this is something you're going to encounter occasionally and you don't want to just always go, forget it. Don't let yourself be discouraged. If your goals require other people to be involved and they keep being the problem, then you might want to find some other people to work with in this particular situation. One of the reasons why we procrastinate is that we feel like we are going to fail. That is the fear of failure. And the thing is that a lot of us will not succeed in everything that we do. But, they say if you don't try, you can't succeed, right? I didn't just make that up. But that's the thing. You got to just keep going. You can't put all your eggs in one basket. I'm throwing a lot of cliches out, but you've got to look at every single event as something that can lead you forward. Even if you're unsuccessful at a specific part, that doesn't mean that the overall goal, which is not being lost anymore, will be a failure. Okay, so let's talk about some tips to kind of dealing with setbacks. Number one, if we'll talk about the failing thing first, you have a plan. You want to meet X number of people per month to get into this magazine, and you don't do it that month. Well, you've got to understand that that's not always going to happen, right? You are not in control of anybody's life but your own. So if there are other people involved, sometimes that's going to be a problem. Just keep going. Try a different approach. Is it that they're canceling on you? Can you not get them on the phone? Are you just can't find the right people? That likely means that your approach needs to be changed. One important thing though is to stay resilient. Keep at it. You've got to keep going, and eventually you will break through. One of the strangest things is that it's that, straw that broke the camel's back saying. Well, a lot of cliches in this video. You just keep going, and you don't always see the little incremental changes, but all of a sudden you have that overnight success, as it would be. But it never is. It's always a buildup of things. And the thing is, it's so hard to get past that point where you feel like it's not going anywhere. But if you can keep pushing, you will achieve it. One thing you can do in these times is to look for partnerships or, just somebody else that you can talk to. Maybe not a partnership in the actual goal, but maybe two people that have similar ideas that can commiserate or combine their heads to overcome things. I can't tell you the number of times I've been working on a project, working, and I'm stuck. And then I just go to the friend of mine with one part of it and I say, what do you think about this? And then I just start talking, and then they're talking, we're going back and forth. And all of a sudden I've solved like 5 of the problems. I didn't even realize it was in me, but it took me interacting with somebody else. Their 2 words here, they're seeing that I was on the right course to help me keep going. Overcoming obstacles is really the key to success. Whether they be small obstacles like just getting yourself going, I know that can seem like a big one sometimes, or big obstacles like nobody will talk to me. Those obstacles are in your way, and the goal is to overcome them. If it's a wall, nobody will talk to me, then perhaps your goal to talk to this person here is maybe not specific enough. Maybe you need to work your way around it and figure out other steps to get to that point. Maybe the reason why you're hitting a wall is because that's 3 steps forward and you're not seeing the ones that you're missing. Step back, reevaluate, be resilient. One final thing I want to hit on in this video is the idea of adaptability. The idea that we may have our goal that's to be at the cover of a magazine or to reach that mountain or to get so many followers or build a community, but we need to adapt as we go. If we started off with the idea that we want to build a large community on Instagram, but we find that TikTok works better for us, we need to adapt and go that way. That's how we'll keep going. The worst thing you can do when you feel lost is hit a wall and not go anywhere. You want to always be moving forward. So which means you need to look at yourself and reevaluate constantly. This is why we want to set smaller goals so you can reach different kind of waypoints, if you will, on your way. Then you can decide, do I want to keep going towards that mountain? Or maybe I'm better off because I found a stream here I can follow because I know that also goes to the road. You can decide when you see those things and you can make that change. It's important to have goals, to stick with them, but also to realize when a slight change might make it easier, better, and help you on your way to success. You've reached the end of the video. Do not just move on to your next video. I'm giving you some homework. If you watched this video because you felt lost or you thought, I have no place to go, I don't know where I'm going, you wanted some inspiration, I hope this did it for you. And what you need to do right now, take out your phone, take out a pad of paper, a sticky note. I don't care if you take a Sharpie and write it on your arm. Give yourself some kind of a goal, something small. Or if you don't kind of have a direction that you think you want to go in, thus being lost, list down some of the things that you have achieved, but why they're not quite there for you. Here's the top. Here's what you've achieved. Here's some failures. Why are these in the middle and not up here? What are you missing? Work through that. Let me know if it's not too personal in the comments below, or let me know something else. Let me know things you want to see in videos like this. Let me know how you have successfully set goals to find success, or if you've had to adapt. I'd love to know. Let me know in the comments below. Go ahead and like the video if you haven't already, and subscribe to the channel. Lots more stuff like this on this channel. I'm getting more into these kind of videos this year, so hopefully you're liking them. It seems like you have been. Check the description. You're going to find a link there to my Discord server. Lots of great people over there having conversations about being creators, and you'll find a link to my podcast and all kinds of other good stuff. I'll talk to you soon.